You hear it before you understand what it is. A deep, rolling rumble from inside the cow's body. Not a moo, something else. Something that sounds like a washing machine on low cycle mixed with distant thunder. You're standing next to a 1,000-pound animal that's literally fermenting its food inside its body, producing enough gas to fill a party balloon every few minutes. And you're thinking, how is this thing not exploding? Everyone's seen a cow chewing, that slow, methodical jaw movement that never seems to stop. They eat grass for a few hours, then stand around chewing nothing for hours more. It looks lazy, it looks simple, but here's what nobody tells you. That cow isn't just chewing. It's running a 4-chambered biological refinery inside its body that can break down materials your stomach would reject as indigestible. And the process is so violent, so chemically extreme, that it produces methane gas as a waste product. A single cow burps out about 220 pounds of methane per year. Think about that. Let's start with the obvious thing nobody questions. Why can cows eat grass when you can't? You've got a stomach, they've got a stomach, same basic digestive system, right? Wrong. Completely wrong. Your stomach is one chamber that uses acid to break down proteins. A cow's stomach is actually 4 separate chambers, each with a completely different job, and only one of them actually uses acid. The other 3 are fermentation tanks, running a process that's closer to brewing beer than digesting food. Here's how it works. When a cow swallows grass, and they barely chew it the first time, it goes into the first chamber called the rumen. This is the fermentation tank. Imagine a 40-gallon barrel filled with a thick soup of partially chewed grass, water, and billions of bacteria. The temperature inside is a constant 102 degrees Fahrenheit. The pH is carefully controlled between 6 and 7, and those bacteria, they're doing something your body cannot do, breaking down cellulose. Cellulose is what makes plant cell walls rigid. It's one of the toughest biological materials on Earth. Your stomach acid can't touch it. Your enzymes can't break it. When you eat salad, the cellulose passes straight through you. That's fiber. But cow rumen bacteria evolved specifically to tear cellulose apart and convert it into usable sugars. The cow isn't digesting the grass. The bacteria are digesting it. And the cow is digesting the bacteria. It's farming microbes in its own body. But here comes the part nobody sees. The fermentation process produces gas, lots of gas. Methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen. The rumen can produce up to 50 liters of gas per hour during active digestion. If that gas couldn't escape, the cow would bloat like a balloon and die within hours. So cows burp, constantly. Every few minutes, a massive burp releases the pressure. You think you have acid reflux? A cow burps up 200 liters of gas per day. The result? A cow can extract calories from materials that would starve you to death. Grass has almost no nutritional value to humans, but a cow's rumen bacteria break it down into volatile fatty acids that the cow absorbs for energy. A dairy cow can produce 8 gallons of milk every day eating nothing but grass, because its rumen is essentially a bioreactor, converting cellulose into fat and protein. It's like turning cardboard into steak. If you're finding this fascinating, hit that like button and subscribe to The Curious Mechanism for more hidden biological engineering stories. But you're probably thinking, what happens if the fermentation goes wrong? And you're right to ask, because the rumen is essentially a controlled explosion happening inside the cow's body, and the system has multiple safe fails to keep it from going critical. The second chamber, the reticulum, acts like a filter and pump. It catches any hardware the cow accidentally swallows, and they do swallow nails, wire, all kinds of metal, and keeps it from puncturing the other chambers. Then it pumps the partially fermented grass back up to the cow's mouth. This is what you're seeing when a cow chews cud. That's not new food. That's fermented grass that got punked back up for a second round of chewing. The cow chews it into an even finer paste, swallows it again, and sends it back to the rumen for more bacterial breakdown. Some grass gets chewed and re-fermented 3 or 4 times before it's broken down enough to move forward. It's like running material through a wood chipper, then running the chips again and again until you get sawdust. Now comes the invisible part, the real biological engineering. The third chamber, the omasum, is basically a filter press. It's lined with hundreds of thin leaf-like layers of tissue that squeeze excess water out of the fermented grass paste.
Think of it like wringing out a sponge, but the sponge is made of partially digested plant matter and the water is full of dissolved nutrients. The omasum absorbs water and minerals while compressing everything else into a dense cake. Only then does food reach the fourth chamber, the abomasum, which is the only part that works like your stomach. This is where acid finally enters the picture. Strong acid, pH of around 2, breaking down the bacterial proteins that did all the work in the rumen. The cow isn't just digesting grass, it's digesting the bacteria that digested the grass. It's farming and harvesting microscopic organisms in a continuous cycle. But here's an uncomfortable truth. This system is so efficient at producing methane that cows are a major source of greenhouse gases, not from manure, from birks. The 1.5 billion cows on Earth produce about 220 billion pounds of methane annually, just from digestion. That's roughly 4% of all global greenhouse emissions coming from biological fermentation happening inside animals. We've bred cows to be so good at converting grass into milk and meat that they've become atmospheric methane factories. And there's no way around it. The rumen bacteria that make cows useful, that let them turn grass into protein, inherently produce methane as a waste product. It's basic chemistry. Fermentation of cellulose produces methane. You can't have one without the other. Scientists are trying everything: seaweed supplements, probiotic additives, selective breeding to reduce methane production. But as long as cows have 4-chambered stomachs and eat grass, they're going to burp greenhouse gases. This isn't just about one animal's weird digestive system. It's about how we've created an agricultural system dependent on biological fermentation at planetary scale. Cows can turn grassland, land too poor for crops, into human food. That's valuable. But the environmental cost is a continuous stream of methane released into the atmosphere from billions of walking fermentation tanks. So next time you see a cow peacefully chewing its cud in a pasture, don't just think simple farm animal. Think about the 4-chambered bioreactor running inside its body. Think about the billions of bacteria breaking down cellulose in a 102-degree fermentation tank. Think about the 50 liters of gas building up every hour that has to escape or the animal dies. Are they calm and content? Yes. Are they also walking methane factories running a chemical process so extreme it's changing Earth's atmosphere? Absolutely. You're watching a biological system that's been optimized over millions of years to do something humans still can't replicate with technology: efficiently convert grass into protein. Most people think it's just a cow eating, but it's actually one of the most sophisticated fermentation systems in nature, hidden inside an animal we see every day. If this changed the way you see cows in fields, subscribe to The Curious Mechanism and hit that like button. Share this with someone who never thought about where milk actually comes from. This is The Curious Mechanism, exploring the invisible systems that keep the world running.